So hi guys, how are you today? I hope you guys are having a great day, and today I'm going to show you how I edit my portraits. So this is a picture clicked by me. You might have seen this picture on my Instagram, that is at frame by AB. So you might have seen this picture on my Instagram. I asked you guys on my story if you guys would like to see some editing tutorials, like how I edit my portraits, what softwares do I use, and like what methods do I use for skin retouching, everything. So this video is about that. It might be a little longer, but let's see. I really don't know right now, but so let's go. So firstly, basically I use two softwares, that is Lightroom and Photoshop, to edit my pictures always. Like 95% of the time it is Lightroom and Photoshop both. Like it's very rare in some outdoor shoots that I just go with Lightroom and not with Photoshop. So let's start with this picture. So to begin with, exposure thing, I like my photos in a little bit of the cooler temperature, so I always tend to keep it in the cooler side, and it's really that I keep my temperature in the warmer side, but it's mostly the cooler side, and adjusting the exposure of the photo. I like to add some contrast, and this adds some more depth in the photos, some hard shadows. Like not about the hard shadows, but adding the depth in the photos. Contrast does that for me. A little bit high on the highlights, some shadows. So here I'm decreasing some of the whites because I don't want too much of the glare and that sharp. I don't want too much of the glare and that sharp white skin. So I'm just decreasing some of the whites and obviously decreasing some blacks because I need depth. Increasing some clarity because obviously, and some vibrancy as well. So moving on, the HSL panel, changing color tones. So I'll just do this all basic things quickly, and then let's head over to Photoshop. Okay, so now as you guys can see, our Lightroom edit is done, and this is how the picture looks before and after. Just the Lightroom edit. After the Lightroom editing, all I have done is adjust the brightness of the image, because I have clicked a raw image, so it's way too dull right now in the colors and everything. So adjusting the brightness, adjusting the colors, enhancing the colors, that's what I have done right now. And now let's head over to Photoshop. So yes, in the Photoshop I am using the Retouching Academy's retouching panel to retouch all my photos, all my portraits right now. I love using this panel, and I seriously can suggest someone to use this panel if they're a beginner, also if they're a pro also. Like I'm not a pro, I'll say I'm a beginner only, but I love using this panel. This evens out a little bit, but although for any of those who you don't have this panel, I have some actions of my own. I know how to do the frequency separation, the dodge and burn things in Photoshop, so I have some actions on my end. So you can just leave down some comments below if you would like to see that also. I'll put a video out about that also. So moving ahead, let's start with the Liquify. I always like to make a copy of the layer so that I have an idea of what I have done before and after. So making a copy by just pressing Ctrl J, heading over to Liquify, just making some little basic adjustments to the face, and also adding some depth, some more volume to the hair. Just a little bit of the adjustment can make our photo look really good, as you can see. So okay, coming back. Now what I'm doing here is I'm removing some slight blemishes that there are just before the frequency separation. Right here I'm using the spot healing. Right here I'm just using the healing brush tool. So all you have to do is take a soft brush, healing brush, make sure that you take a new layer, and make sure that you are here on current and below, not on current or not on just below. So just make sure that you are on the sample current and below. take the healing brush tool, just hold Alt, take a sample and paint over the blemish. Just do that for all the blemishes that you find in your image, all the small blemishes, I would correct myself. Do that for all the small blemishes that you find in your image, and let's go ahead. Just paint over every blemish that you find. Just take a sample near the blemish by holding Alt, clicking near the sample, the place you want to sample, and then just paint it over. I'll just speed up the process for you. So now that we are done, moving ahead, I like to do the frequency separation. As my image is as I have clicked a raw image, so it's a 16-bit image. As you can see, you can also check right here, it's a 16-bit image. If that's RGB/8, it's an 8-bit image, so just check before you apply. Using the panel, I clicked 16-bit, it does the. So for this Gaussian blur thing, what you have to do, zoom into the image, look into it. What usually tends to work for me is something between 2.5 and 3.4. That to 3.4 is way too much higher. I really don't go for that. I usually go for 2, nothing more than 3. That's my maximum. So I'll just check for right now what works for me. 2.5, yeah, 2.5 it is. So go into the low frequency layer. All you have to do is take a mixer brush tool. So that's the mixer brush tool. You can just access that and by right clicking the brush tool panel. These are the settings that you must have for the mixer brush tool to work. And just start brushing over the skin. One thing that you have to keep in mind, as you while you're brushing, you have to brush areas while looking at the brightness of the skin. Like brighter areas have to be brushed at once, and then darker areas have to be brushed at once. If you brush the bright and the dark areas together, something will happen that will just remove the skin texture. So you have to keep that in mind. Keep doing it. I'll just speed up the process. So that's how the image is. Now just sharpen the image. That's up to you. It's just like a click for me in the Retouching Academy panel, because I have already mentioned that, but I just love using this panel. This panel is so good. Now I'd like to edit the eyes. Already the model is already wearing lenses, so it's kind of good, because I'll show you. So clicking on this magic eyes button, let's go ahead. So firstly, I like to clean these blood shots in the eye, in the white area. To do that, just go to this clean eyes hair panel. All you have to do is just take a brush, take a normal round soft brush with a flow of around 20%, and just paint it over. Don't worry about the brightness right now, just paint it over. Cool. Once we're done, you can just adjust the opacity. Now going into the add light panel, in the add light layer, take a brush with flow of around 20% only, and decrease its size to about maybe 2 or 3 pixels. So I'm going for 2 right here, and just paint in the eye in strokes and in the manner the eye is. You don't have to be scrambling around, just paint in lines around the eyes. Supposing that you're drawing from the center of the eye, draw like that. Doing this enhances our eye's color. So just to give you a better example, imagine this is the center of the eye. All you have to do is draw like that, like you're drawing from the center of the eye. So once you're done with it, I like to change the color of mine, just paint over that, and then you can adjust it. That's up to you. So till now, what editing we have done is, I'll show you the before and after. So this is the before and the after. I really like it. Now moving on to the dodge and burn, I like to do the dodge and burn curve setup, and I like to edit in the grayscale, because grayscale really gives you the idea like which areas has to be dodged and which area has to be burned. It gives you idea like which area is to do like a brighter area of the image, darker area of the image. In colors you can also do that, but doing it from grayscale really helps you. That's what my idea is, and that's really how I do it. Going ahead, starting with the burn, check the curve if you want to. You can edit the curve as well, and then take a brush, a normal soft round brush with hardness of 0% and with a flow of 2%, and just start painting on the dark areas. So that's how much I have painted. That's how I've painted. Like this is my mask of the burn curve. Now doing the same for the dodge, and that's how much I've painted for the dodge thing. So that's my image before and after dodge and burn, and just reducing the opacity a little bit because I found it too harsh. And that's my image totally before and after. You can see the skin texture that we have, the detailed skin texture and good dodge and burn. Now I'm just adding some hair highlights. You can take the hairbrush the Retouching Academy panel already has. I like the second brush, increasing the brush just painting slightly over, like with a flow of 10%. I like doing that. And now for the color grading, I like to use selective color. So I just move over all the sliders, see what looks best to me. That's how I edit. That's what I said, I'm not a pro. I don't have any ideas like what the slider will do. So I'll just go over to the slider, move the slider here and there, and just check how the edit works for me. And moving on to the curves. So that's it guys, that's how I edit my portraits. Let me know in the comments below if you like my video. Please do subscribe to my channel and help me grow my channel. Please like my video and leave some comments if you have some new ideas for video, or if you want a video without the retouching panel. I would really love to make a video for you guys. So thank you so much. Leave it down in the comments, whatever you want. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.